And hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tim and Jim Show. I'm Tim Sohn, hanging out here in the river and the forest and all the nature-y places, and I'm excited to be here today because it's a different kind of show today. I get to hang out with my friend Jim Fuhs and all you amazing people. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing good, Tim. It's good to see you. I'm hanging out in my dining room, right? It's not a green screen. People sometimes wonder. It's my wife knows how to decorate. I don't, but had a little bit of we had some really heavy rains last night, and so I've got some water cleanup I need to do to get back into my regular studio. But right, that's what live streaming is all about. You know, actually, Tim, I just thought of something kind of funny. It was about 3 years ago that I had to evacuate because of a hurricane. And I was like going live from all these different places. I don't know if you remember that or not, but
I do remember you were like in coffee shops.
Yeah,
and we were hoping
Waldo?
The Wi-Fi was going to work. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how funny it was for you, but maybe looking back, I don't know.
you got to, if you can't laugh at life, I don't know what you can laugh at, but trust me, I know there's people that have it a lot worse than. In fact, my wife and I were talking about it last night. It's like, at least we're not the people in Louisiana or even up in New York and New Jersey. And prayers to those folks that have been going through a really rough time. Ida was not nice, and
for sure,
we still got a few more months to go before some of that. So. Yeah, Stefan didn't recognize me without the brick wall, but I do have my StreamYard shirt on.
Yeah, shout out to StreamYard. I do too. Shout out to StreamYard.
You look like you're cold though. You got a sweat jacket on.
Well, I'm in the basement. It's been like in the 50s, the 60s lately.
Wow.
And I'm outdoors. So it's a little chilly. But we should thank everyone for being here who's tuning in. Brian Schulman is here. He's saying, hey, how's it going, Brian Schulman? Thank you for being here, LinkedIn user. Let us know who you are. We appreciate all the LinkedIn users around the world, whether your name is LinkedIn user or, some other name. Alex Chambers is here. Hey, Alex in Colorado. And Elise is here from South Africa again. Hi, Elise. I guess it's your evening time in South Africa. So that is amazing. Houston, Texas is in the house. So Stefan Kaplan is here. Didn't recognize you without that brick wall, and I'm still outside. It's the same exact weather as all the other weeks. It just doesn't change here. So we're so happy you guys are here, and this show is a little bit different today in that it's me and Jim here, and we are open to answering what questions you have. We have a few that people have submitted ahead of time.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But we want to know, what are your burning questions for me and Jim about live streaming, about social media, about really anything, but let's keep it appropriate. This is a family-friendly Tim and Jim show. So Jim, should we see what question number 1 is?
Yes, because I want to know what question number 1 is.
Yeah, I know. I haven't even shared it with you. Linda Booth wants to know any tips for managing a Facebook group to convert them to customers. Do you have any insight into this, Jim?
I have a little insight, but I guess it's from the perspective of, are you a part of a group or are you managing the group? If you're a part of the group, one of the things that I learned from Angus Nelson, which I think is a really powerful tool, is, as much as, and Facebook, you know how I feel about it at times, Tim.
You love it.
Take your personal profile and let people know what you do on it. So make it almost like a mini business page. Like, you've got a call to action, you've got your socials of what you do. Because what happens is, people don't like to be sold in a group. And so if you're in a group with your personal profile and you're adding value, well, the person can click on your profile and say, oh, I want to know more about this Tim guy. But if Tim's profile doesn't tell me that he runs a marketing agency, that he, has a website or things like that,
I better work on that.
I'm not gonna know what to do. Yeah. So seriously, if you want to see some great examples, Mike Alton, Angus Nelson, go check out their Facebook profiles. And I've even done it as well, but I'll give them more credit. But I even have a bit.ly link so that you could make an appointment with me on my personal profile. So that's one way. If you're in a group as the group owner and you're trying to convert them to customers, I would think that if they're already there, that they're interested. So maybe just, Tim, you're the king of DMs. What do you think? Do you reach out to them?
Well, I think first off, you want to make sure that you're providing a lot of value, whether maybe you're doing a live video in the group once a week, maybe like a training kind of thing, depending on your area. I know Linda has a company called Just for Tummies. She sells nutrition supplements for gut health. And she's been going live on her business page. And I believe she's also now going live in her group as well. And one thing that she's been doing is she's been providing a guide. She uses chatbots. So people can opt in to receive her guide, and then they opt into her email list, which has been working very well for her, I hear. But I think provide lots of value, and then make sure you're answering questions in the group. And then every once in a while, if you're, you have a course coming up, you're selling a product, it's okay to make that pitch. Don't be like salesy weirdo about it. Try to blend it in the best as you can, make it as conversational as you can. But if you're consistently adding value in your group, and every once in a while, we all need to pay the bills, and people understand that, I'm sure. I think that's probably a good way to go.
Yeah. And I know we've got Andrew Kavanaugh is in the group, or I should say in the chat. Andrew's been on the show before, and he does a heck of a lot with Adobe Photoshop groups. So he's another person you might want to reach out to, because he's got like bajillions. Is that a word? Bajillions of followers.
It is now
in his group.
Yeah, his groups are amazing. Andrew, put the name of your groups down in the chat. I'm sure people would love to join them if they're interested in things like that. Stuart is tuning in from Bonnie, Scotland. Thanks for being here.
It's another place I'd like to visit. Scotland.
Yes. So let us know, guys, if you have a Facebook group, drop it down below in the comments. We'd love to check it out. And then another question that I actually posted this question on my Facebook a few weeks ago, I was planning on doing an Ask Me Anything, just through my business. And Andrew Kavanaugh said, Tim, what do you love the most about live streaming? So Jim, what do you love the most about live streaming?
I like the fact that one, in the case of us, we've become friends by live streaming, even though we've only seen each other, it's twice, right? Because twice in person, um, we've been able to build a relationship, and I feel like I know you, and it's that's the power of live streaming, right? Like the folks that are here in the audience, right? Stefan, Andrew, Rose, we haven't met, but I feel like we're friends, and I think that's all because of live streaming. If they were watching our videos, recorded, maybe a little bit, but it's just something about having that live interaction that I just really think it makes it, we'll say, magical.
Yeah, it's definitely magical. I like that word. I think for me, what I love the most about live streaming is, well, definitely what you were saying, like the relationships that you can develop. Whether it's you're developing relationships with people who are watching, who are in the comments, or if they're a guest on the show. One thing that I've been intentionally doing more of is reaching out to people who have been in the comments of different live shows and just saying, hey, do you want to get on a Zoom call and just get to know each other better? And hey, you might end up with a new friend. You might end up with some sort of business partnership, or, whatever. But I think when you show up on the screen with someone like Jim over there, it takes the relationship to a new level, right, Jim?
Definitely does. And yeah, I think you bring up some great points about just how it really builds connection. And I'll say, from a production standpoint, what I like about live streaming is we don't have to do any editing, right?
Yes.
It's real, it's raw. uh, you know all our ums and ahs, that as much as we try to avoid them, they're here. We're not descripting them out. And so you see us, right? You have to think on your feet a little bit, or maybe if you're sitting down, on your backside. And
Are you sitting today, Jim?
I'm sitting. I know, right? It's a
Wow.
shocker. I should have brought my X stand up here. I could have used that. But it's yeah, it definitely is a. I think it's a great way to get your message out. It takes away the excuses of, oh, but I got to do all these edits. And, I think that's probably part of why I don't do a lot of short form video, because you feel like, oh, I got to add stickers, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And it's like, I don't know. I haven't made time for that. People obviously have time. I just haven't made time for it. What about you?
Yeah. In terms of short form, I've been doing more Instagram stories lately. I haven't done Instagram reels. I watched a lot of TikTok videos, but I haven't created a lot of TikTok videos. But I'm with you that one of the perks of live video is that you don't have to edit it. Now, you do have this whole video that you can take clips from and use later if you choose to, which is a great way to get more awareness out about your show. And you could even drive more traffic back to your show that way, right, Jim?
Yes, yeah, and Carl's comment too, right? The fact that we're able to interact with him live, and he gets to, hopefully, Carl, you feel like you're a part of our community, a part of our audience, but the fact that you're able to recognize people live, I mean, sometimes that makes a big difference to people, just to know that you're actually paying attention to them and not just sitting there talking. And good to see you, Russ, over on YouTube. Russ
Hey,
Hedges
Russ.
in the house, and it's got a fantastic show as well. In fact, I think it was this morning.
He always has a show going on.
He's always got something going on. That's right.
Yeah. And Stefan says it cannot be sell, sell, sell. We must all provide really well-rounded content to our bajillions of followers. Yes, our bajillions. We love all of you bajillions of people.
Now more
You're
than
funny,
ever.
Stefan. I love when I don't even have to say it. We know you are also awesome, Russ Hedge. So we are happy to answer any questions that you guys have about mostly anything. Jim, what are you working on lately?
Well, aside from lately, I got my new toy, but I haven't completely set it up. This is the
Ooh,
Sony. Stefan, don't get jealous. This is the Sony EV10, and so I can actually turn it on. I have gotten that far.
wow,
And what is cool about it is it's got the screen so you can see what you're looking at. So if I wanted to
that's awesome.
do a video of myself, I can see myself. It does 4K. So this is going to become my new streaming camera as well as just a camera. It's an actual camera. I haven't had a real camera in a while. I normally use my iPhone, but which I still will, but just see to try and take things to another level. And I think that's probably what I would think we would both recommend is, right now I'm using a C920 Logitech webcam, cost about $50. I'm using a $70 mic and I've got some $99 in-ear monitors.
Mhm.
You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to live stream. Just get started. And over time, right, as you start to have success, you can level up a piece at a time. You don't have to do it all overnight. I mean, what do you think, Tim?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think especially like if you want to have sponsors for your show, or if you want to get brand partnerships, or um, even if you're like a live streaming producer and you might be working with some larger brands, I think having a little higher up tech, would be helpful in attracting those people to work with you, right, Jim?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, for both of us, right? I mean, it's led to, some amazing opportunities. I mean, I'm doing some remote production work with some companies. I know you have been as well, and it's all because we got into it, stop being afraid, stop making excuses. I mean, I know Stefan is another example of someone that was not doing live streaming, and
Yeah.
now not only has he got a great show, but he's also doing some production work as well. And Rose as well, who was here. Rose works with Shri and now has her own fantastic show where she brings on some amazing women and really just is shouting out all the great women out there today.
Yeah, definitely. It's called Women to Follow. I believe it's on Tuesday evenings. Let us know, Rose or Stefan, down in the comments when your next show is. And all of you who have shows, Russ and Carl, and let us know when your next shows are, so we can show up to support you, because we appreciate every time that you show up here on the Tim and Jim show. So Jim, do you think we should take a break for a brief message from StreamYard?
But of course,
Here we go. On the other side, we'll do some dancing. Do. And we are back, and you guys are so lucky to be here today, because you got 2 videos out of that deal.
I was like, I've heard this song before.
Yes, the beauty of live video. And when Carl Sean Watkins is here. Hey, Carl, it's great to see you here on the Tim and Jim show. And Andrew says, come attend using Lightroom Mobile with Lightroom Classic with Benjamin Ward this Friday. That's cool. Have you ever used Lightroom, Jim?
I've downloaded it. Does that count?
It's a start. Yes, it does. It does count. Absolutely, it counts.
It's
Yeah.
that's I think sometimes, right? And I don't know about you, right? That's the whole challenge. There's so many things that you could be doing, and sometimes it becomes that where should I focus right now? And I think that becomes a challenge because, I have an interest in video editing and learning how to do better pictures and things like that. But then it's like, part of it's like, oh, where do I even start? And,
Yeah,
is it going to be worth the time? Because, if you got to be doing, especially like with us where we have our own business, got to be doing income producing activities. And
that's right.
so, but I think it's important that you're always learning. I mean, our guest last week, Howie, wow, what
Yeah,
a he's actually got me thinking about vmix now, and how that might be definitely something worth exploring because we've got the foundations of live streaming, and we've got the foundations of being producers. So it's like, well, now how can I maybe do other things using another program? I mean, because I think we both saw, right? We started with a different program completely, which shall remain nameless.
yes.
And you can never say that something you're using is going to last forever. I mean, all those people that were on Blab, that's something you got to be aware of. Is just like you got to be prepared for change.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we love StreamYard, but there are other platforms out there as well, like Ecamm. Like sometimes we like to use it as a virtual camera in StreamYard. Uh, Ecamm lets you do some things that are more customizable, to level up your stream some more. There's vmix, there's other options out there as well. And as a producer, right, it's good to know more than one platform, because not you might be approached by a client, or you might approach a potential client and they might be like, well, we use XYZ platform,
Right.
right? And you don't want
Right.
to be caught stuck not being able to take a client because you don't know that platform. So it's always
Yeah.
good to be learning different platforms, right, Tim?
Well, right, and plus you gotta give, I mean, I guess giving people options can be dangerous because you don't want them to overthink it, but sometimes having options too, to your point, like, well, I this is really the look we want, and if your solution doesn't provide it, they're probably gonna go somewhere else, so you gotta have that flexibility, so I think that's a great point, Tim.
Thanks. Oh, Carl Sullivan has a question. He says, what's a good way to expand the guest list for interviews? How can I find them outside my own group?
Hmm.
What do you think, Jim?
Well, I think, one, that's a great question, Carl, and so one thing is ask the people in your circle if they know someone that would be a good guest, because I think it's called Dunbar's law that most of us know at least 150 people uh, that we're connected with. So you've got your circle, but they know people, and even sometimes with networking, the magic isn't that Tim may not need my services, but he knows someone that does. So it's kind of the same thing. Tim may not be the right guest for my show, but he might know someone that would be. The other thing is sometimes maybe just put it out there like, "Hey, I'm looking for people to talk about X on my show. Let me know if you're interested." I mean, what are some of your thoughts on that, Tim?
Yeah, I think those are some great tips, Jim. I think other options might be to go into some similar Facebook groups, like Carl has his bearded banter. Maybe there's other beard groups out there that he could become a member of, and then develop relationships with people over there that maybe they would want to come over to his group and be interviewed by Carl. And Carl is a lot of fun, and you always feel super comfortable with him. He's such a supportive person and a lot of fun, just a down to earth guy. So
Well,
he yeah.
speaking of beards, Carl, make sure you follow Jeff C because he is the
Yes.
manly Pinterest guy, and he's got a huge beard, and so maybe, who
Yes.
knows? There could be something there. See?
That's a great idea. Stefan has a question. Here's a question. What is the one thing you both want to learn next about live streaming?
Hmm. I'll let you go first, Tim.
Why, thank you, Jim. Thank you. What do I want to learn next? I mean, I'm really focused on having really great conversations and maybe figuring out how to make shows more creative, more engaging. I'm less worried about the tech aspect, although I also bought a mirrorless camera that I am not using today. But figuring out ways to make shows more creative, whether it's like maybe like a game show kind of thing, doing giveaways, dancing. On Brian Schulman's show, we like to dance. But just figuring out how to make, because there's so many shows out there that are, I don't want to say boring, but like they're boring, some of them.
There, so you said it.
Yeah, I said it. I'm owning it. Just ways to make shows more lively, I think, and fun and engaging. What do you think, Jim? Was that enough time for you to ponder?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for the pondering time. I think hybrid. How do you get into hybrid and bring in live streaming? Because I think that is a big challenge, especially for, me at least. I don't know if you feel the same way, Tim, but it's like, how do you capture that audience that's in person and still be able to share it to the people that aren't there? Because I know some people try to use Zoom, and I think, like you said, a lot of times it's boring. People don't want to seem to step up their game. And I think I would agree with you. How do you make things more engaging? How do you incorporate some technology that lets you do giveaways, things of that nature, in a seamless, easy way? And that also makes it, gives everybody a fair chance, I guess you could say, to actually participate. So I think for me, it's how to incorporate hybrid with live streaming would be what I would want to learn next, and vMix possibly as well.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting about the hybrid, especially as we're moving forward now, where we don't know what's going on exactly, but then also figuring out, like, how do you figure out the business model behind hybrid, right? You can't really, depending on the experience online, right? Figuring out the pricing and you really want to have a really engaging experience online. And I think even a dedicated online, I don't know what you would call the person, online engagement specialist, someone who's online, like dedicated to the people who are online. So you're not just pointing the camera to your in-person event, right? Because that's not going to be very, very fun, very engaging.
Right.
Yeah. We have another question. The questions are just piling in now. Alex Chambers says, how do you feel live streaming compares to other forms of marketing and messaging? Benefits and drawbacks. Do you want me to take that first? No, you go.
So I think the benefit is that in a lot of cases, the algorithm of a lot of these platforms supports live streaming. So more people are going to see it. So if you're trying to get organic reach, the other thing is it creates, puts the face to a name. It allows leadership of a company to engage with, maybe a lukewarm audience. Now they start to say, hey, I really like what this person says. I want to talk with them more. And even when you look at some of the statistics right now, Tim, I think you shared this a couple weeks ago. Mari Smith shared that 50% of content on Facebook is video now. People will consume video, but will they consume other forms of messaging? I mean, Alex, great questions. I mean, do you like to get direct mail? Do you read it, or do you just trash it? It's like, this is more junk mail. Do you read, posts that don't catch your attention? I mean, so on the social platforms, I think video is the most powerful. Live streaming even more so, because it gives the ability for people to interact. But it's also not an overnight success thing, right? It takes time, and I think that's where a lot of businesses give up. Drawbacks is you've got to work at it, right? You've got to think about, I'm looking at the camera right now. I can't be, looking down. I've got to have good internet. So the tech piece can be a challenge for some people with live streaming, and you got to be willing to work at it. So that, to me, it'd be the drawbacks more with live streaming, I think, are tech related. Otherwise, I don't really see a downside to doing live streaming.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Jim. Like you were saying, the tech aspect does get a lot of people, and a lot of people want their shows to be perfect. They don't like the tech aspect because they can't, like if you're doing a recorded video, you can go back, you can edit it, you can take pieces out, you can add things, you can polish it, so to speak. Whereas live, it's real, it's in the moment, anything can happen, but you get to develop a live relationship with your audience, like you guys, Carl and Russ and Stefan and all of you here. So I think that's really the biggest benefit, is that you're building relationships with people live. It means people also do tune in on the replay, and we appreciate you replay viewers also. But I think the real, the unique thing about live is that when you are live, you're engaging with your viewers live. Drawbacks, I mean, just like you were saying, Jim, about the tech aspect and the, like just getting the confidence to go live. Once you go live, one of the things I love about going live is that being with Jim, of course, and all you amazing people here every week, it wouldn't be as, I wouldn't look forward to it as much if, you all weren't here. So it's that community aspect that I think is really makes live streaming unique.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think the other aspect too that we've got to remember is, with the live stream, you've got to have a plan. I think you've probably seen it, right? It goes back to what you were saying, like there's a lot of boring live streams out there.
We won't name them.
We won't name them. No, it'll be nice. You got to have a plan. You've got to think about who you're going to talk to, what are you going to talk about, how are you going to keep audience engaged? Because if you don't, they're going to go somewhere else. Your time is their time is precious. So that's the other thing to think about. So when you're first starting out, maybe if you're trying to work your company into the live stream spaces, maybe once a week, you come on for 5 minutes talking about what's going on with the business and what you're looking for, how you hope to help people. But I think going back to a comment that Stefan made earlier, right? It can't just be about selling. You've got to bring value and add value to the audience, or they're going to like, oh gosh, here comes that guy. He's going to try to sell me again. And they'll run away.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, for example, I've seen that, like, especially when I go on Brian Schulman's Shout Out Saturday show or What's Good Wednesday, a lot of people from there, like, we show up as, bananas and other silly things that Jim loves.
I do love bananas, by the way.
You do? Oh, here, have a banana. Here, Jim, have a banana. Had to get it in there at least once, But I mean, on those shows, we show up, we focus on positivity. We bring people live on screen with us from the comments, and we dance with them. But then every once in a while, when I have a course coming up, I say, hey, I have this course coming up. Do you want to learn how to launch your own live show? And then usually at least several people from that community sign up. So, most of the time we're having fun and focusing on positivity. But then when there is something coming up, I mention it, and some people bite, So that's been my experience, Jim. And Carl says, drink tea with Tim. Carl, I don't drink tea. Tea and coffee over here, Carl.
It's okay if you try it, though, Tim. Have you tried it?
I've had tea when I'm sick. Usually only when I'm sick, or no, that's it. Only when I'm sick. For some reason, tea tastes good when I'm sick.
Yes. Yeah.
Coffee just doesn't. Yeah.
There are people that like tea. I'm with you. I'm more of a coffee drinker myself. I have had green tea before though. That Andrew, but see, I cut a lot of all these sugary drinks out, and
Yeah.
tea is included in that because I think a lot of people get like the iced tea, and in the South, the only
Mhm.
kind of iced tea is with sugar in it because
Sweet tea, right?
I sweet tea. That's right. Because if you have non-sweet tea, it tastes like it needs to be sweetened.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and I just put a post up, was it yesterday, that I'm trying to get back on track with my health again and starting some good new habits. So, um,
Excellent.
especially hopefully in March, I'll come out to Social Media Marketing World and some other events out there. So that kind of gives you an incentive, because like when you're in your house so much, especially during COVID, and people see you from like here up, right? Like if you're going to go somewhere and actually see people in person, that gives you an incentive to get back on track.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So this has been a fun show, Jim. I always like when we can come on in here and pop on together, the two of us
Yes.
and
Yes.
y'all.
And y'all come back now here. And you
That's
know who
right.
our guest is next week?
I do. Do you want to tell us?
Yes, Angus Nelson is going to be our
Ooh.
guest next week. He's amazing. Looking forward to having him. He's been a big influence with me, especially I was working with him right before COVID started. I think that really helped me mindset wise. He
Mm.
works with men specifically, helping them, you know, become masters of their selves. And so excited to have him. He was a great speaker at Social Media Week Lima, not only this year but 2 years ago.
Oh,
So
wow. Awesome.
definitely looking forward to having him on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here for the Tim and Jim show. Literally the Tim and Jim show this week. And we'll see y'all real soon. Bye.